From the great state of Texas, you are now listening to Skip the Noise Podcast, a Rounded Edge Media production. Thank you so much for joining us, Tobias. I am only referring to myself, yours truly, Benji, here for another fantastic episode. Shout out to Mike Tacklebox for the music. And no, I don't have any of my co-hosts. We have been fairly inconsistent lately, and that's why I decided to go ahead and record a live stream. Possibly some callers, some interactions in the chat. Who knows, but I'm fully prepared to sit here and talk for 45 minutes to an hour if I have to. Don't have a whole lot to talk to news-wise. The World Cup happened. Argentina was victorious. In the age of the internet, conspiracies run amok. I haven't even read them, honestly. I've been out of the loop. If you haven't noticed, our show has been much less consistent. Used to pride myself on us going almost 2 years in a row, or straight 2 years. Recording a weekly episode. We kind of fell off that. I did start a new job, which is the primary factor in our inconsistencies. It's just been a little, everybody says, oh, it's hectic, but it's really thrown me off the normal routine of getting together to record, or not together, but convening, because we record remotely, if you don't already know. But I want to send a big shout out to my co-hosts for holding it down and just being troopers throughout this whole process. Mexican Nostradamus and Rick, the Brown Python, always putting in their input. Rick with his conservative tilt. You know, you almost, when you record a podcast, you almost become, I mean, you're yourself, right? But there's a small sense of kind of a character playing. And if you're a podcaster, I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Not that you're not real and genuine, but if you have, especially if you have like we do, a 3-man show, it's funny how you just naturally kind of fall into the roles. Yes, those roles are created because based on truth and reality and where our opinions lie, but at some point, you start playing into it a little bit. Been less active on the Instagram. I'm sure you've noticed that as well. But I don't intend on falling off completely. I just needed work has been absolutely taxing. It's been a little taxing on my family too. Things are good. You know, the schedule, I guess, on paper would be considered maybe better. But it's just the timing of everything. I started this new gig in October and really November though. And the situation lends itself to a lot of chaos and insanity and a lot of high level of pressure. So it hadn't been a whole lot for me to indulge in my endeavors outside of the show. You know, if you've listened to the show, you know that I am a fairly busy person just by nature. I never stop moving. I'm always doing shit, whether it's my job or stuff on the side, recording this podcast, little side gigs. I miss it. And that's what I wanted to start off by. I miss the coolers, man. The Harris County Cooler King is definitely, I've got my eyes on how to angle myself back into that game and start being your secondary, what would you call that? Secondary market cooler option out here in Northwest Harris County. But, you know, one thing that when you get stressed out, and like I was mentioning before with the new job and getting your schedule changes, it kind of throws you off a rhythm. What I'm very glad to say is that I've kept it's been tougher, but I've still been able to maintain my dedication to fitness, which is something I believe in very heavily. You know, running, calisthenics. I don't do a lot of weight stuff, but I've maintained that just because I really feel like that's the longer I live, you know, there's a good number of years where I kind of fell off that train and I paid the price big time. It's hard to not regret sometimes big chunks of your life when you look back, especially when you get to a certain age. It can eat at you. You know, you change and you evolve as you get older. And when you get to a certain level and a certain mental awareness, you start looking back at, you know, old decisions and fuck, man, I could have been here 20 years before had I just, I don't know, you look back and sometimes you're like, who the hell was that person? But anyway, I digress. So the, the Skip the Noise running club was something that I wanted to try to get off the ground. It didn't get a whole lot of traction, but it doesn't matter. I'm still putting it out there, and it's still up and running. Don't get me wrong. And I notice when I partake in those beliefs and getting out there and putting the feet on the natural surfaces, right, and kind of going off the beaten path, not the the big parks where everybody runs, just kind of doing your own thing, cutting through utility routes and running on grass and getting in all kinds of interesting places and seeing interesting things, interesting animals. I've seen anything from East Texas wild dogs to fucking nutria rats, everything, man. Rabbits, snakes, deer. Almost got hit by a deer running. I was eyeballing this balancing act I could possibly do that I thought I gave thought to having my son record me walking across this, probably about 15 to 20 feet in the air over a ditch, and haven't done it yet. The reason I wanted to do it was because like in the movie Deliverance, where there's that river that they're about to build the fucking dam, or they're gonna do some shit and it's gonna be gone. All of this, man, all these old country, or not country, but just vacant properties in the surrounding area where I live out in Cyprus, it's all getting developed and purchased, and they're cutting roads, they're tearing down trees. So there's this one little stretch, and the only way I can get to it is if I go under fucking 290 on foot and kind of shuffle my way through the 45-degree slant of the concrete, and then I bust out on the other side, and there's like a ranch. So I'm probably trespassing, honestly, but I don't have to. You don't have to cross any fence. There's like kind of like dirt utility roads that kind of cut through it, and man, I've really gone so deep that I did actually cross like trespassing signs about a mile or two in. And I just kept going. I was like, fuck it. That's probably pretty risky because you never know. Some crazy asshole with a shotgun could just shut it down right there, and probably nobody would know. So, but in the spirit of exploration, I persisted, and I kept going, and found all kinds of cool little places where I stopped, sat down, took a picture. Little, I wouldn't call them like waterfalls, but little interesting spots in the brush, and like I said, animals, because you get further away from where the people are at, interesting animals tend to show up. So what else? The work change, Skip the Noise Running Club, still in effect. Like I said, my whole routine kind of changed, probably for the better, but it's forced me to wake up. I wake up a lot earlier now, which is weird, and I go to sleep earlier. So I've been more disciplined in that regard, but the space that I have for free thinking is very much minimal, and that's why I wanted to do this episode. I finally got like a little bit of I got 2 days off in a row, and I had a little bit of the break. It didn't give me enough time to coordinate with the guys and put together a real episode, but I just wanted to check in and talk about some things. So one of the things too, when you face a new situation and all kinds of new challenges, it really brings up, and it's like it's like, have you ever given blood? Like donated blood, right? And you lose a lot of blood in that process, like a pint. The dude Sean just entered the chat. Hello, how are you, dude? The dude Sean. But anyway, if you've ever given blood, Sean, hey there, you'll know immediately after there's kind of you feel lightheaded, right? But at least in my experience, after getting all that blood, it's almost feel like a kind of a refreshing thing, like you're getting rid of the old shit. So yeah, when you switch careers, or not necessarily careers, but jobs, and the whole environment change, something you've done for like 6 years, it really like stretches your mind in a way that it hasn't been pushed, and it's kind of like getting rid of that old blood. And even though it's really taxing physically, mentally, you feel a little bit refreshed. The dude Sean, do you know any fucking thing what I'm talking about? Can you relate to that at all? And the reason I bring that up is because I'm going to get into a little bit of a story, something that happened to me recently that was kind of interesting because of all that. Like I said, the new job. In other words, it's like taxing to your central nervous system because all these new things and processes and people and all these old resources that you've cut all these pathways over time and you just rely on them like capillaries. Thank you for the like, by the way. You know, you cut all these pathways that all already exist, right? So all this, it's like a circulatory system, and all your information is right there at your fingertips, and you get really good at a job, and it's like almost on autopilot. And then all of a sudden, boom, you still have the same skill set, you're riding high on confidence, then boom, you get thrown into a new environment. Those pathways are not cut. So every decision has to be, it takes about 4 or 5 times the mental energy to produce the same results. So in a nutshell, that's why the show hasn't been out as much. Um, the guys have recorded a little bit here and there, but we haven't had the three of us together consistently in a while. And myself being the producer, because of my lack of availability, it kind of makes it tough to keep the thing consistent. So we appreciate all those who have stuck with us. But that dude, Sean, I don't know if you've ever listened to Skip the Noise podcast. If you don't, I highly suggest you subscribe. What you're listening to right now is just me live streaming on the Podbean just to kind of get things going and put out. I'll record this and I will put this out as an episode. So if you'd like to participate, you definitely can call in. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine too. But anyway, because of, once again, I keep building on this this sort of foundation I'm laying for this story I'm about to tell. So with all the new job, you know, everything, and plus I got plenty to do besides that, right? I got 4 kids. My side hustles kind of had to take a back seat, so I haven't been involved in that, like I mentioned before, with the coolers and all the stuff. So I've just been basically working, coming home. Plus it's Christmas too, right? So it's got like family shit, trying to do, getting stuff ready for the kids. Got to remember to move the fucking elf around the house every morning or every night. So that being said, the other night I went on a relaxing adventure. I'll leave it at that, okay? In my head. And maybe a little too much, okay? To the point where I wouldn't say I was on the verge of having a psychotic meltdown. I say that for the sake of the story and for the sake of exaggeration. It wasn't that. It wasn't that bad. But I was definitely, you know, teetering on freaking out, I guess you could say. Well, I'll leave it at that. And I actually had the thought in my head, and it was like an analogy. It's like all this, like, overwhelming, the pressure, the changes, the mental exhaustion, the physical exhaustion. Fuck, I didn't even get into that, you know? But still, once again, maintaining the fitness, because I believe, you know, getting up at 4 a.m. and doing the burpees and all that bullshit. Never letting myself get out of the momentum. All that being said, the freak out started to happen, but I felt like almost like a unshakable like piece. I could feel it coming and I recognized it, but there was a part of me that was removed. Was like, no, 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 no. You can't let this happen. You can't let these feelings overwhelm you. And it brings you back to the core, your foundation that should be unshakable. And if you haven't built that within yourself, then that's what you should start doing immediately. You should immediately start getting to the root of what it is you believe in, who you care for, all those things, reducing them. It's just like math, and you're reducing them to their lowest terms. And what you're left with is what you're fucking left with when the lights shut out. That's what I realized. And so, but what's funny, the funny part of the story is when it started to get to that point, it was like right on the verge. And you know, if you know, you know, right? If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, type of an enterprise. And so right about at that moment, I shifted and I was like, no. And the song, the song that started playing in my head was Polyphonic Spree, Have a Day. You know, have a day. Celebrate, soon you'll find the answer. That started going off in my head, and I started thinking about fucking all the people I love and the people that love me. And it was just like boom, boom, boom. And then it was like a fucking avalanche, an outward avalanche, an ever expanding avalanche of fucking love and peace. And boom, then I drifted off to sleep. And that was it. Woke up the next morning, went to work, grinded it out, making decisions like lightning because I don't have. It forced me into the stage of making decisions like lightning. So when I do have these little moments of fucking relief, they're like, boo, like the images are so sharp and the feelings are so, just like sitting on the couch with my little girl, like my youngest one, and just like, oh man, how fucking sweet she is and everything. Like you feel every single bit of that. I don't get distracted by the other shit. So anyway, I'm fucking thankful for that. As challenging and fucking like I sent a picture of my steps. You know how on my iPhone, the little health heart app calculates your fucking steps. There was a day where I had 40,000, and that's not even the hard part. The physical part is easy. It's the mental shit. But anyway, while I take a little break here to give a few shout outs, some fellow podcasters. Not to get too sentimental, but you know what I mean? It's Christmas, right? We started Skip the Noise in 2020, back in the summer. I mean, you could say, oh, pandemic podcast. I don't know. It was just the timing. It really didn't have nothing to do with the pandemic, but I think it was more the fact that we got used to using Zoom. And so that was actually a thing for some kind of non-tech minded individuals like myself. I taught my shit all this stuff like right in a row. But that being said, as far as the podcasting community that we've sort of come up with over the last couple of years, shout out to Gil from the Mind Buzz, shout out to JR, West Virginia Uncommonplace, shout out to Desmond of Independent Thought, shout out to Shep, uh, Deep Meaningful Conversations, Deep MCs. Obviously, been on the show a couple of times. So I've collabed with all these people I'm mentioning right now. Ulysses from Inside the North Side, fellow Houstonian. Bottled Up Bitches, shout out to them. Haven't collabed with them yet. That would be maybe something on the horizon. That may be cool. Mustachioed Podcastio. Fuck yeah. Mr. Daniel Segura out in San Antonio. So just by nature, man, a lot of Texans in the mix. I just realized that as I was saying it. Not all of them, but some of them. But, I found it funny, though, that that song kind of pulled me out of that. But it taught me something. Had I not gone through that, it was like a test. And it gave me a lot of personal confidence to know that I could bounce back from something like that. When you have kids and shit and you have a family, like you get used to not being able to, like, there's just no out. Like, you have to be there. So if you're in those situations, in other words, my message to young people would be, put yourself in situations where, like, the accountability, like you hold yourself to that accountability, or else you force yourself into those scenarios. I don't know. So what else? World Cup happened. Argentina won. Messi gets his World Cup trophy. All is well. I want to talk a little about the cold weather that's about to hit us once again. Everybody in Harris County or in Southeast Texas that's all the rage. The news. It's going to get so fucking cold. People from up north laugh at us because of all the hoopla. But I'll read this article here from ABC 13. If you haven't started preparing for this week's forecasted Arctic front, you're not out of time yet, but you better hurry. You better fucking hurry. You're going to freeze to death out there. You better get your bottled water. Cold weather supplies at multiple Houston area hardware stores have already sold out. All they mean is those fucking the insulated pool noodle fucking things you cut down the middle. I just use like insulation and wrap the shit. I don't know. My house is built in '08 or '09, so everything there's not a whole lot of exposed pipes. But that was a real fucking problem, man. A couple years ago out in this area, because we're not. You got to understand, like people from up north make fun of us and shit like that, but it's just it happens so rare that the infrastructure of everything isn't prepared for temperatures to get that low. So it does cause a lot of fucking chaos. Like in other words, the construction isn't really in mind of uh, protecting from extreme cold. So a shitload of people's pipes burst in that big Arctic freeze that caused a big. I mean, it was a big deal. Shit, power was out for fucking weeks for a lot of people. The power grid was in, came dangerously close to completely shutting down. So anyway, they're trying to ramp up that fear again. Bearings, they're getting a new shipment on Thursday morning, but you might be able to use what you already have to wrap your pipes and plants. You can take towels or any kind of heavy cloth. You can even take foam insulation or something like that. Benson said, wrap that round and round exposed pipes and finish it off with duct tape. Duct tape is going to seal it and keep that warmth in and keep that moisture out. And that's the key ingredient, the dude Sean. We saw grocery stores busy with people buying bottled water and other non-perishable items. At River Oaks Plant House, the phone has been ringing all weekend. They're fucking going nuts out here, Sean. I'm telling you. Those they're recommended bringing in any plants you can and covering the rest. I guess I take for granted sometimes this should just be common shit, but it's like when they got to reteach fucking people every time this shit. Water them lightly, don't drench them, because if it gets really cold, those roots are going to freeze. So water them maybe on Wednesday heavily so that by Thursday they have enough moisture to go through the weekend. Don't wait until the last minute to water them. Eduardo Ramirez, a River Oaks plant house manager, said. Thanks, Eduardo, for that key ingredient nugget of information. Is for the electric grid, ERCOT officials say they don't anticipate outages as of now. Well, that's good. ERCOT was something that so Texas has its own power grid. We're completely on our own system, which is kind of unique. And it came dangerously close of completely shutting down. But what's funny is because before that big ice storm a couple years ago, I guess it was 2021, wasn't it? God, it's so weird how time, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you when that was. But if you do lose power, don't try to heat your home yourself. Don't do it. Don't start. I guess what the translation there is don't start a fire in your house, you fucking idiot. You're going to die. Smoke inhalation. Fucking stupid. All of the patients that I saw in the emergency department during last freeze, none of them were brought in because they were too cold. All of them were brought in because they had carbon monoxide poisoning. Dr. Hillary Fairbrother, a UT Houston Memorial Hermann emergency medicine physician, explained, during the freeze, we saw people bringing grills inside. We saw people using their stoves or oven to heat their houses or even building fires inside. All these things will quickly raise the level of poison you and potentially kill you. So that's fucking stupid. Why would you? Man, sometimes I forget that you really do take for granted that people are that stupid. Adult people, who own or rent homes. They're intelligent enough to figure out how to make that work week to week or month to month. But they don't have enough sense to not bring a fucking charcoal grill or gas grill into their house. Speaking of that, man, I should invest in a real smoker and get into some competition shit. I think I can do it. I just have a knack, man, for putting food together. I taught myself in the apartment days, long, long ago, but that's neither here nor there. Um, oh, I know what I want to talk about too is the fucking AI art. I mentioned it on one of the shows. I have an app on my phone called Dream by Wombo, and you type in a phrase and you pick a different like art style, and it generates an image, right, based on that art style and the phrasing that you used. Um, the dude Sean, holler at me. Are you still with us? It's showing that you're in the room, but you've been quiet. If you're still in there, say hi or say something, because I want to try to see, or don't. I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, I'd like you to come up with the phrase. There he is. Okay. I'd like for you to come up with a phrase, and what I'm gonna do, let's say like 3 or 4 words. Okay. It can be random as shit. Any you're choosing. Uh, and then I'm actually gonna create art based on what you tell me. Okay. Tell me if you're down. I mean, it's pretty low committal on you. All you have to come up with is like a 3-word phrase. Okay, you're down. All right. So I am prepared, Sean, to type in anything of your choosing. Keep it, you know what I mean? Don't be stupid. Take it, pick something you think is going to be interesting or something you would like to see turned into an image. And I will then post whatever that dude Sean creates on my Instagram or our Instagram. And you can check it out over there, Sean. How about that? Would you like to participate in this exercise? And the dude Sean likes the show again. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Yeah, if you've never listened to the show, the dude Sean, we've got, I guess you could say it's a news political show. We cover the weekly news, politics, global politics, local politics, or news. You know what I mean? And, obviously mix in our own takes and anecdotes and things like that. I kind of lost myself in thought there, but yeah, I mean the thing is, we're a Texas-based show, so a lot of times we will try to start local and then kind of expand outward, and even get into some, to put the context on it. That's kind of what I do. Rick the Brown Python kind of has a conservative thought process. Mexican Nostradamus is more on the left leaning. Both very intelligent individuals, more intelligent than myself, I will say, or at least in a different way. They're more academically intelligent. I'm a little different. The dude Sean, I'm waiting on a phrase, unless you're backing out. What I like to do, the dude Sean, is take the titles of our episodes from the show and run them through this thing, and make art. So an interesting thing that happened recently. He keeps liking the show, which I appreciate. I love it. So anyway, something interesting that happened though is I walk my dog often at nighttime, and I got a nice little mellow vibe. Sometimes I'll have a little drink with me or something, but not a whole lot of people out there, not a lot of foot traffic out here in the neighborhood. So I'm often walking by myself, or not by myself, with the dog in the middle of the street late at night. And it's kind of peaceful, relaxing. It's a certain vibe to it, man, especially when the moon is hanging overhead and kind of lighting up the sky, and it's real big and waxing right in your fucking face, and it's just kind of light. And there's even like a little lake kind of near my neighborhood. It's man-made at that, but it is kind of nice, and it's got a little grassy banks into it and some trees lining around it. But anyway, that moonlight kind of hits it, and the lights from the street lights and stuff across the way just makes a nice little peaceful, interesting setting. And sometimes, like I said, I like to walk off the beaten path a little bit, especially if I run and go on these little adventures. I find some interesting places. So I'm very familiar geographically with my surroundings, more so than I would say your average person is. Way more so. Matter of fact, I bet you I've covered more. If like, let's say you had to paint a map, like if you had let's say every acre of your zip code was like graphed out, and each square would light up if you physically been in that location with your own feet. I bet you I would have the whole shit covered. Well, maybe not the whole shit, but my coverage, if you could put that on a graph and compare it to the other residents of my zip code, you bet your ass Benji's coverage is going to be greater. I bet you. I bet you. Sean. Sean, I bet you. Okay? So anyway, I'll be walking around, dude, and I tried, so, and as I mentioned before, man, very stressful existence from when I get up to when I get maybe like, and I'm not even bullshitting, I get maybe like 15 minutes a day of like my own, maybe that's a little exaggerated a little, but like, of like my own thoughts that like are uninterrupted by bullshit, a very limited amount of time. So those dogs walks, in other words, it's more than that, right? Like it's definitely my way of like getting the brain to kind of whatever. So I try to take in every little sensory nugget. So when I'm on there, right? So in other words, back to the AI, I wanted to try to, and I'm not going to tell you the words I used, but like the words I used were very calculated in what I selected to try to create a visual image of that vibe. Okay. And I did it so accurately when the image came out, and I'll post that as well. When the image came out, it was so eerily close to hitting the mark that I freaked out, and I texted the guys in the infamous text thread. I texted the image that came out, and then I actually texted a picture side by side of an actual location that I take. So when I do these runs, as I mentioned before, I will snap little photos. Once again, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't do anything with them a lot, but I just keep them as these little snapshots, if that makes sense. And I kind of store them away in my brain as little like a vibe snapshot. Like I can reference it. And sometimes I'll just do that. I don't use it for nothing else except going scrolling back through my phone and like, boom, okay, there was that little, when I had that thought that led to that thought, which led to some action I took that made a difference. And I scroll back through those photos and like, boom, that was it, right? Like when I just came over the hill a little bit and kind of looked down, you know what I mean, on that creek, and like it had just rained, the day before, and it was kind of, there's cloudy and shit, and so that green grass just like popped. Anyway, shit like that, or like the moon was all fucking big and shit, and the reflection and blah 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 blah. And I might have had just a little teensy bit of a buzz going, so that colored it too. That colored the image in my head or how I perceived it, and we kept going like that. So what I'm trying to tell you, Sean, is like I was very specific about creating the vibe with certain words, and when I did, it was like a photo, or it was like an enhanced sort of like electric photo, if you will, of an actual location that I had taken a fucking photo of. Now, two things might have been happening here. One, the AI, when I downloaded the app, I may have given them permission to like completely hijack my entire fucking information on my phone, right? All my data. I probably did, right? Because who reads all that shit? You read all that shit, Sean? I bet you don't. No, you don't, dude. You know what I'm thinking, Sean? I'm thinking about I'm gonna wrap this up in about 5 minutes. Maybe about 5 minutes. So go 40. That'll be about 40 minutes. I'll put like a little interlude, and then I'll take a classic episode of Skip the Noise, Party in the Back, and then dump it on the back end of this, and make it a thing. You know, make people relive that episode, or just like a random clip, man. Maybe from like a Jeremy episode, dude, from back in the day. I think I like that. If you haven't listened to the show, Jeremy Masters, one regular guest on the show. An old friend of mine from the back when we used to met each other in the Houston music scene of the early 2000s. Local, a different world back then, man. Before social media and all that shit. This was still printing flyers, shaking hands, meeting people at clubs, getting gigs. But dude, we were one of the he was in a different band than me, but we played together a lot. We're on the same bill, and all these local, and even traveled together. We went to other spots in East Texas, Beaumont, San Antonio, and San Antonio's not, you know what I mean? Yeah, other spots in Texas and Louisiana and shit. But anyway, Jeremy, I know Jeremy for a long, long time, and so whenever we started the podcast, he was one of the first people. I was like, "Fuck, he'd be," and we hadn't talked, mind you, in like years. At that point, when we started the show, and I just so happened to think like, "Fuck, dude," because we used to have badass conversations back in the day, like in between shows or whatever, like in the parking lots, and little forming little circles, little powwows and shit. And anyway, those conversations got fucking crazy and super interesting, and created like a real atmospheric buzz around the place. And I'm not even bullshitting. Like, that was, ask him. That's some real shit. We'll have to get him on pretty soon. He's got some new ventures. He's been a busy motherfucker too, big time. I know firsthand, or I know for a fact that that's the case. So maybe it's one of those things, those like seasons of change, man. Things people are on the same on the STN ticket. You know what I mean? We're all going through changes in a positive way at the same time by facing, difficulties and inconveniences, and just putting ourselves through that to get a little bit more edgy and a little bit more sharp. It's just very simple analogy. It's like a knife, right? A knife is more useful the sharper it gets. That's what a knife is. The purpose of a knife is to be sharp. That's why it's shaped like that. So hence, the more sharp it is, the more useful it is, and the more true it is to its own form. So how do you sharpen it though? You got to fucking rub it against shit that you have to cause friction. Okay, you have to cause friction to get that knife sharp. So sometimes you have to force the friction to bring out your true self, and sometimes that gets ugly. Sometimes it's not real pretty, because if you're not used to that friction, the reaction patterns that you're having start becoming a little bit different, and you start implementing your own thoughts in different ways, and all of a sudden, before too long, you're like, whoa, 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 I'm off track. That's not cool. I'm starting to think like you know what I mean? I'm starting to think like a little hoe. And that's not what I want to do. I want to redirect. But you have to understand what's going on. That's the key ingredient to everything, is to be able to pull back and understand what's happening to you, so you're not attached to the movement or to the wave that's happening. You're watching it from like a couple steps out. So that's the key there. Pankaj. If I pronounce that all kinds of fucked up, correct me, please. Pankaj. Welcome to the show. If you'd like to comment or call in, you're more than welcome. You missed quite a bit. I'm actually kind of wrapping up at this moment, but you have a chance to save this show and drag it on for a little bit longer. But as I was saying, I was just kind of wrapping up. It's important to cause that friction. So sometimes you have to force yourself into those situations. There's been several moments in my life where it's like, I knew, you get to this certain level, you elevate yourself in a certain way, and things are coming a little bit easy, which is good, because you want a certain level of reward for your hard work. But sometimes when you start reaping the rewards, you reap them too long, and you're not staying sharp. You start to fall into these old patterns that you don't like. I can definitely say that had come to me. So I think intuitively I knew it was time to take a different step, change a little bit of direction, but at the cost of that, like I said, some of the things that I had established, i.e. the show, um, and the fucking cooler game, had taken a back seat. But it's just things change. You just have to reconvene and reapproach. So my message, and the reason I wanted to put out the show before the new year flipped over, was to get one last word in. If the guys and I aren't able to record one more time before the new year, I wanted to get one last bit in here. So anyway, I thank you guys for joining us tonight. Pancash, like I said, it's your last chance. I don't know if you're male or female. This is your chance to settle the score. Tell us straight. If not, we're about to go to a little bit of a musical break by one young, handsome Jeremy Masters. And then, like I said, I will lead into an old clip of the show. I'll probably pick something random. I don't know. We'll see. Producer's choice. I'll serve something up lively for you. Don't worry about that. But anyway, until then, it's been great. I just wanted to get the message out that we're not going anywhere. Just kind of been a little, recollecting ourselves. But Skip the Noise podcast is here to stay, and we will see you very shortly. Take care.
Mexican Nostradamus had introduced this topic and the potential of this telescope, the James Webb telescope. So there's been a new sort of progress in this venture. Ben, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So, of course, unfortunately, with this mission, which is probably one of the greatest technological things that our human race have ever achieved, we're running into little issues, but nothing big. But the big announcement is the sun shield has completely expanded. Now imagine the telescope sits on, so kind of, if you can imagine, put your hand or a piece of paper, lay it flat. The telescope literally sits vertical up from the piece of paper in a way. So just imagine your hand on top of the paper. That's where the telescope is. Well, the piece of paper is the sunscreen, and in relation, it's that large. So it has completely successfully deployed the full sunscreen, which is huge because the sunscreen serves so many different things. In particular, it blocks, it does what it says, blocks the sunscreen, and it does that and allows the Webb telescope to operate better in infrared light spectrum.
Right, because that's how it's picking up or potentially going to pick up those signals is by using that. Well, and another thing to point out too is, like, unlike the Hubble, which orbited around the Earth, this is why obviously sun shield being very important. Yep. This orbits the fucking sun.
Yes.
So
it's at Lagrange point too. It's out past our moon's orbit. It's basically orbiting around the sun. Yes. In a way,
it's orbiting around the sun.
Well, it's at Lagrange point too, so it's still in a technical orbit with the Earth, technically, but it still functions in that type of apparatus around the Earth. But technically, we are, of course, revolving around the sun. as a planet, and even at Lagrange point too. So it's still going around the sun, but it'll block out the sun basically, I guess, at its angle or the way that it's doing it. So it's actually a really, really, really fascinating thing, man. I'm pretty excited.
What's the objective of this thing?
What, James Webb?
Yeah.
Oh God.
What is
The
it supposed to
objective-
do?
I mean, everything. Everything.
Oh, did Benji just leave? Oh.
I don't know. 3, 2, 1, pause. All right. So we
No, it says we're recording.
I think it says we're recording. Huh.
All right then.
Man, he got really bored from the James Webb discussion.
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, I can't blame him either.
That's not very nice. Not very nice at all. But
no, it's good. I'm listening.
but the show must go on. So basically, in the end, this is huge.
Okay, it orbits the sun, but what does it do though? I mean,
what's going to do is it's going to be able to see further out in space than we've ever been able to. Even to the point that it can look at exoplanets and look for like actual spectrum analysis. I mean, we can look at stars and tell what type of stars they are. But when it comes to something as minuscule as planets, we haven't had that ability. This thing could literally spot industrial gases in the atmospheres.
Interesting.
No, the James Webb Telescope could easily, there we go. Hey, I think. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, lost
He's
me
back.
there for a sec.
Bucky's himself.
Yep, Bucky's back. But yeah, so I think I put a 3, 2, 1 pause in there, but Rick kept talking. So fuck it, we're gonna run with it because you know why it's party in the back.
Figure it out.
We're raw. But in the end, it's gonna be able to see way further, higher detail, and with infrared spectrum, see even further back into the galactic, cosmic, the universal story of the beginning, of the Big Bang.
Yeah.
So it's going to actually really answer a lot of questions. I really think that if something's going to see alien life first, it's this fucking thing.
Yeah, that's what.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
Seems
fucking
to be likely.
huge. And it would be pretty dope if, let's say, it just sees 30, 40 planets with some type of industrial gases. Like planets maybe like our level. Or, just it's a pretty interesting thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this is the future of astronomy. This is the future of our understanding of the universe. And in 6 months, keep your fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this shit starts clocking, and next thing you know, we see Mork from the planet, block. Who knows? Maybe that's in the end how we communicate. Maybe in the end, that's how other species who, maybe there is really the cosmic speed limit, but maybe through time they advertise themselves with industrial gases or spectrometry, knowing that that's the only way you can really peer back and see distance,
Hey, so I was listening to this thing about astronomy and the age of the universe. Dude, it's pretty mind bending.
It's
because
massively complicated.
That the age of the universe is something like, I don't know, 300 billion years old or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, some ridiculous number.
14 to 16 billion years old. Yes.
14 to 16 billion years old. Okay. But they were saying that how do you account for that time where spots are like black holes where time goes slower?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not just a regular. Yeah, it's not just like a time. It's not from 12 to 1. There was 1 hour duration. Like it's not the same thing.
It's not
completely.
You got these even like planets with heavy masses. It doesn't have to be black holes. It can be a sun. It could be a black hole. It could be a planet that are much more heavier, that where time goes slower.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Because it's just gravity. Yeah. And it depends
pure
if
gravity.
Orbiting.
So how do you judge how old the universe is if some parts are going faster and some parts are going slower?
Well, time is
it
relative,
creates a problem.
Right? Well, but the relativity of time will be based on
Earth relativity. I mean, whatever time is here.
Well, not necessarily, because you can observe in the vacuum of space time also, and we measure time technically by, how long it took the light to reach us. That's how come we know technically we see the infrared cosmic background in the universe. So we know that particular spectrums and those things, that's what we saw in the very beginning, 100,000 years after the Big Bang. But if you could peer even deeper, you could really start getting into the fuckery that was the physics of like the beginning of the universe. So yeah, anyways, it's super exciting. It's super cool. I think the universe keeps snatching Ben away.
Probably, man.
I think that state COVID test, they're trying to silence them.
It would be cool if you use a satellite and you see in Contact, remember how at the end Jodie Foster's character goes through that little wormhole and she sees like a planet with like lights all over it. Yeah, it's nighttime. Imagine we see that.
That's what I'm saying.
A planet with lights on there. Like what?
That's what I'm saying. But it won't necessarily be lights. But what it will be is like, holy shit, there's like all these industrial gases out there. There's like, it'll be the same fucking thing. It's like, there's no way you can make benzene or whatever. You know,
just detecting some photons on the surface at nighttime.
Well, right.
Detecting some light. I mean, that just by itself is like, damn, there's light down there.
Right. This is where, that's the cool thing. So that's why I'm so excited about this. This is the greatest accomplishment that humanity has ever made. Well, and we're watching it happen.
That's second to warp speed.
And
just want to put it there.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, not warp speed. The COVID testing thing.
Oh, TikTok.
Donald Trump.
You mean TikTok?
TikTok.
Okay, hold on. Let's arrange it. TikTok. January 6th. Email and let's see what else. What are also these wonderful?
The wheel.
The wheel. No, well, no, the wheels. Hold on. No. We dick pills.
Oh yeah, no.
100% dick pills. I mean, and then somewhere in the lower echelons is the James Webb Telescope, but yeah, I mean, kind of like when you rank like the cities in Texas, James Webb's a little bit above Dallas, where they normally would be towards the bottom. I mean, the wheel. There's just so much more, string cheese, McDonald's. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm fucking excited to see this, man. I really hope that somehow we can definitively say that there's some type of industrial life on another planet. And then, because NASA actually is they brought in a bunch of priests to talk about this. To talk about how we going to tell everyone, because I'm not trying to say that this is a for sure thing, but it kind of is. How are we going to tell everyone like, oh, see that planet? There's things that are probably just as smart as we are over there. And how are we all going to deal with that? Fucking crazy. Either way, I'm super excited.
Even in Christianity or even the Hebrew Bible doesn't talk about life on other planets.
It says we're made in God's image. Well, what the fuck are they made in?
There you go. Satan's image.
I mean, exactly. Like, what the fuck is there? Or what happens if somehow we don't even see necessarily a planet, but we see somehow its resolution so high, we see like a fucking rift in the universe. Like we see things that are just beyond, we can see a little bit behind the veil, and what amazing things could we find out? So I think it's pretty cool. I'm pretty pumped, guys.
All right, so this is a great time.
And not only that, but what do you like? It's not only what you're seeing, but like when you're seeing.
Exactly.
So it's not like communicate. Like if you received the signal that was brought back by the telescope that there was something somewhere. It's not like you could communicate with whatever that is in real time.
No,
because even you see what I mean. Like,
oh yeah. It could be, it could be some advanced civilization's farewell, knowing that one day someone would look in their side of the galaxy and see like, go fuck yourself or something, across the sky. You never know. But whatever we see will be fascinating. Whatever we learn will give us more of a complete understanding of the universe. And to me, I think that's, that's really out. That's what we have left. I think in the end, the reason that we don't venture into space and we don't have that as a dream, I think that's really what's fucked this fucking country, this whole world up. It's just dudes trying to fucking bang TikTok chicks and do dances and shit. It's just, I don't know, man. Anyways,
or wear super tight pants. But you know what? This kind of disproves your theory because
why is
this gentleman? Yeah, because I mean, what's his name? The Virgin Airline guy, and then Jeff Bezos and
Branson Bezos.
They're going to space, dude.
They are.
They're breaking the tip. And they're
breaking that tip off.
Breaking that tip. They're getting one.
They're gapping that space.
Yeah, one micro. Millimeter.
DVDA shots,
or whatever you could conceptually
DP
the limit of like what would space be considered is like whatever their one hair on the top of their head broke that barrier.
Nice. Nice.
The limit.
Just the tip. The tip.
But somebody was gonna go with that. I'm not gonna do it. It would be too crass. I can't do it.
Oh boy.
Can't.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
Oh boy.
That'd be too crass. I mean, you went pretty raw on the nursing.
No. Well, hey, no. We have to draw lines somewhere. Okay.
There's gonna be some class in this show, It just can't be all.
Someone who's definitely breaking their tip off into things is the Bezos and his chick. Did you see his disco outfit? The one causing the big uproar.
Yeah, it was cute with the super tight. I mean, painted on pants.
Yeah, bro.
It was real tight, Jeff.
Bezos was wearing tight pants.
Dude,
real tight.
Really tight. Like booty tight.
Really tight.
What?
Like a real loud kind of disco shirt on with the shades. And
what was he doing?
He's partying with his chick.
It was New Year's party.
Yeah.
So he's having a nice New Year's party on a yacht. And I don't know, 90% of the country is barely
poor,
making ends meet, but that's all good. Yeah, it was like a fuck poor people party outfit.
That's exactly the name of it. Was fuck poor people the party
outfit. The fuck poor people.
You know what they did? They hunted poor people.
Damn, that might be the title.
They would disco and like ceremoniously like purge a poor person like between like disco songs. It was like dancing and wrap up, and they just stab a poor person. And for your pleasure, here is a homeless person.
You owe me back every penny of stimuli money you received over the last 2 calendar years.
Right.
Pay it back.
Well,
and pay it back to me in Amazon gift cards. Yeah. So I can shove these off my fucking, swipe them in my ass and throw them back at Starbucks workers. Fucking.
I bet you he accepts Amazon gift cards by swiping them through his ass.
Oh, dude,
I bet he really does. I bet you if you swipe an Amazon gift card through Jeff Bezos' ass, he can tell you how much was on it. But that was $32. $32 on a card.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, man. What the fuck is he wearing?
Dude, you know what? He's living that life, bro. He's living that life. He's got his little
this is not as bad as when Mark Zuckerberg painted his face white for some goddamn reason while he was surfing.
He's the worst. Always.
Or he's got like barbecue in his shelf.
Oh yeah, the barbecue sauce. The joke, dude, the best joke about that was like, yeah, humans have barbecue sauce, right? like in other words, he was setting. He made sure to add a little personality in his background.
What's that barbecue sauce, right?
What the fuck? What is he, dude? What is Zuckerberg? What the fuck is that guy?
Dude, he got his face painted white and he's surfing. Like what is everything on his face?
Drinking that water on fucking answering questions, all fucking nervous.
Dude. That motherfucker is 100%
with his hands. Remember, I touched on that metaverse promo video. I'll just want to go back and circle back because that, if you haven't, please go on YouTube and watch that shit. Dude. It is the weirdest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life.
It is.
With Zuckerberg as the spokesperson, as like leading us through some sort of fucking weird infomercial but like they just taught him, like he just took a 30-minute class on how to public speak before recording this goddamn promotional video, and he's like using his hands all weird and awkward, and he's so uncomfortable. It's the biggest piece of shit. And it's like, but not only that, what tickles me even more about it is that he's so bad at that, but yet he's introducing this goddamn concept that could ruin humanity.
That is true.
But he's like not even diabolical and suave enough to really fucking pull it off, like some fucking Dr. Doom shit. Like, you know, like I'm some fucking prince from Romania who's drinking like a wine glass and leading you to the destruction of the fucking human race. But he's just this like fucking buffoon who can barely like like fuck. Like I'd rather, in other words, like I'd be more comfortable with our fate if it was like some real fucking badass adversary evil.
Like, if it was Joe Rogan telling me about the metaverse, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's, you know, shitty,
Cool.
but I get it. Like, Mark Zuckerberg telling you, and he's like so stiff, and his voice is so like robotic. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be the robot.
But it,
you know,
I hate to
it's
break
so
it to
no,
weird.
it is, and
Yeah,
it's
dude.
so like I can't really describe what it is about him.
I know.
It's
You know what
so-
it is? It's he has no soul. He's
That's
like
exactly right.
animated. He's
That's
like,
just what it
okay.
is.
Oh my god. So I don't know. You guys. So I fucking love the show called The Witcher. It's on Netflix. It's a video game parody. Like Henry Cavill plays like the main player. Anyways, there's this weird creature, right, that looked like a human but walked kind of funny, and like talked without like really moving its mouth. So really, it was just something that was like this kind of creature or monster trying to act like you as human. That's kind of what Zuckerberg reminds me of. Something acting like it's human when it's not.
Yeah, and that's
You
the
know what I'm
whole
saying?
joke, like with
Like
the
the-
barbecue sauce.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's just fucking weird, dude. That guy's a fucking weird thing. But I hate to interject this and kind of throw off this, but you know what? Everyone says that Bezos' girlfriend is fucking super hot.
No.
I don't think so, bro. She's
Mm-mm.
like not really that good looking. Like,
No.
no,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
Right. She
Yeah.
reminds me of like she reminds me of like a kind of a waitress. Like she's really not that good looking.
She reminds
at
me of
all.
like a soccer,
man,
a
there's some
soccer
hot-
mom who's hunting.
Some hot.
No,
you
no,
know?
no. Like, yeah. She reminds me of like one of my homeboys' moms when I was growing up. Like nothing like I would
Exactly.
yeah. If she swang it, yeah. But like I don't like people were like talk about it like, oh, she's so sexy. And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't.
Right?
I don't
Like
think she's.
I don't see it. I mean, she's like, there's oh, she's so good looking and she's hot as fuck. I'm like, really? I don't think
Yeah.
so, bro. Like, I guess you've just, I don't know. Sometimes you find it funny whenever it's like when white people discover Latin women, it's just like, oh my God, these things are so, it's just like, bro, we grew up with this.
I know what you mean.
Like, this is like
They're-
half the chicks at the, like, you know, Mercado del Sol or like
Right.
Exactly right.
Fiesta.
In other words,
that's-
like
yeah.
she's
she could
good
be a
looking, but
cashier.
she's nothing special.
Yeah, she's nothing
Yeah.
great. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of funny. You know, you see that happen. Huh?
She's obviously
Yeah.
had quite a bit of work
Look,
done.
look,
You can
That's what I'm
tell.
saying, right? She looks like some chick you'd pick up at Fiesta. Like she's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
something great. She's not like really beautiful for a Latin
She works at the
woman.
bakery or something.
Yeah. She's not really even a beautiful Latin woman, like in my mind necessarily. Yeah. I mean, she's
Yeah, I would-
okay. She works out, you know.
I would
But-
go with Selma Hayek if she wanted to go. You know,
Game
wanted to go
over.
Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, right.
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. You have to
Salma Hayek.
ascend
If you want to
the
go with
hill.
somebody older but
Yeah.
Hispanic, still looks good, go with Selma Hayek.
some Hayek or I mean, there's so many more. Like anyone on the telenovas.
What's
Oh, dude,
Vergara? What's
hands
that?
down.
Sofia Vergara?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
God. Or
yeah.
anyone on the
Yeah.
Miami newscasting.
Exactly.
You know, like I mean, fuck.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Look, or what's the Spanish channel in Houston? I mean, them. Their fucking B team looks better than this chick. So I'm like, I'm sorry.
The
I'm sorry. I'm
B
not.
team.
I hate to kind of go out there, but I heard like I think Rogan was like, oh, she's like a fucking smoke show. I'm like,
No, dude.
I don't know, bro. Like,
Yeah, I don't-
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
She, you know,
she's okay. But
I don't think
overhyped. Probably
I'd be
overhyped.
quite honest with you. I don't, you know, it's not like I said, you could find her, you know, looking, you know, if you're looking for like peppers and Fiesta, you can find her in the same aisle, bro. There's nothing special about this chick. Nothing
I mean,
badass.
You ever seen
You
some
know?
weather girls from like those Mexican channels?
Oh,
You know, from
yeah.
like Telemundo
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah. Any one of them. Any
one of them,
fucking one of
yeah.
them. Any
Like
one of them
Telemundo,
on their
Univision
worst
or
day.
something.
Worst day. Blow the shit
Just
out
go
of
to
the
the local
water.
news station, find the
I
weather
know.
girl, and then that's it. That's better.
I just find it funny when white people discover Lat women. It's like oh my gosh, she's so exotic. Well, is she?
I don't know, man.
Is she, bro? Is she really, bro? Because, I mean, but anyways, moving on from this debacle. Don't we have another topic?
Speaking of exotic, you know, here's another attractive woman that we're fond of on the show. You know what? I'll go on record.
He's going on record, folks.
I'll go with this young lady over Bezos's lady. We haven't talked about it.
I think we're drawing straws. I think we're drawing straws.
Okay, fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. We're moving on. So basically, it's been a long time on the show since we've mentioned our fellow colleague in the world of, I guess you could say, independent
media
news, somewhat. You know, because she does tend to you know, relay topics that are relevant across the world. She also does this, makes predictions too. Like I said, it's been this is for Skip the Noise listeners who've been with us for a long time. You may recall us bringing up this one young YouTuber, social media personality, Kaiva from South Korea. Recently, I caught a video. Kaiva. So Kaiva, we watched, or I know I did. I don't know if y'all peeped it or whatever, but her latest video, she proclaimed, and she said this for years, that like Kim Jong-un's actually dead, or like if he is alive, like they're using, like he's not really in charge, he's a puppet. So she said this recently in this video, and she's like, in 2022, it will be revealed that Kim Jong-un is dead, or at least that he's not in charge of the company. And this ambassador from China was actually running the country, which is interesting because didn't I bring up something similar? Like I want to say a few months ago, where I was like, North Korea is really just sort of like a puppet for China's interest,
right?
And they use them because it's kind of like a little proxy, or you know what I mean? Like this, they're the extreme crazy, like, oh, that's just North Korea. They're
they're the drunk uncle,
but they're the drunk uncle, yeah. So basically, anyhow, Kaiva is saying that this is the case, and that it's really not, you know, and but they're going to introduce this new, the dynasty's over, in other words, and other entities will take over control of the country. So we'll see. 2022 is 1 year long, and so in that time, we will see if Miss Kaiva is right. So
you know, Kaiva, you know, she's how can I say this? She's an acquired taste, Kaiva.
Yes.
And not in looks, but in the content of her YouTube page.
Right.
Because she speaks about herself in the third person, and sometimes she speaks in code because she says that she can't say certain things on YouTube or something like that. But she speaks in code sometimes, so it makes it kind of hard to follow. But she's easy on the eyes, which makes you want to stay and watch and see what's going on. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. She's not. We're not talking 9 or 10 here, but she's definitely
she's not a 1 or
attractive,
0.
cool.
Yeah, she's an attractive young lady.
Yeah, and so, but anyway, like Rick pointed out, there's something very odd about her videos. Like it's done, like the editing's not necessarily super smooth. You know,
the quality of the video, it seems like
the quality of the videos isn't really great.
It's like a VHS or something.
It is, but it's interesting. Like her sort of tone, or the way she's delivering her message, is very odd. So it's Kaheva. But yeah, we have a long history of Skip the Noise. She's never reached out I don't know if she's
Why
bitter.
not?
The Mexican Nostradamus makes all these great predictions, and she claims to predict the future.
She can't handle
We
my game.
and actually too, we got on her famously for she had made a big
Oh, that's
promise, a
right.
bold promise on YouTube, right, to reveal
Yeah.
herself in a bikini
Mhm.
if because she was kind of a vocal Trump supporter at the time
Yes,
of
she
the last
was.
election here in the United
Yep.
States, and she said if Joe Biden wins, she was going to
Wear a
do a
bikini.
YouTube video of her in a bikini, which she never did, and she kind of
No.
weaseled out on it. So that's why we gave her a lot of shit, like, hey, yo, good
Yeah.
videos and everything, and I know you're preaching the good word to the world, so to speak, but yeah, you kind of what you squelched on
promise is a promise,
you're
man,
better,
you know?
yeah, promise
Yeah.
is a promise, so we're still waiting on that deal. But
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
Kaiva,
Oh,
you are back on our radar, so you can be thankful of that.
We're kind of over it. What is it? What it took, like a year and a month or a year and 2 months for us to get
Yeah,
over
it's
that?
been a while.
Yeah.
Has been a minute. It has been a minute. You guys were definitely destroyed.
We were, man.
Yeah,
You weren't.
yeah, big
You
time.
weren't the same. You weren't the same for a while. I could definitely say.
No, it was almost the same feeling as when I got my positive test result today.
Yeah,
I was just
I would have to
devastated.
say it was as devastating. You were definitely kind of like guys were lost for a while.
Mhm.
You were lost. You were afraid, and she sent you down that spiral. Pretty close to start doing heroin and things. It was rough for y'all for a little while.
Hey,
It was pretty
Benji, let
rough.
me ask you a question. How many tests did you take? Was it 1 or 2? For the COVID.
One
How do you
PCR.
know it wasn't a false positive?
A PCR.
Well, could have been, I guess.
PCRs are pretty good, bro.
I don't know.
PCR is
man.
pretty accurate.
I mean, because he looks fine. He doesn't look like he's sick or anything.
Yeah,
that's
no,
what
I'm
that's
fine.
that's Omicron. bro.
Yeah.
That's,
Hey, man,
that's-
you should do it again and see if we can get a false positive.
well, see, but it's gonna be
Maybe.
that you have to
No.
be careful with that.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I'm
just
not
saying,
going too
dude.
crazy
I
on the
mean,
test.
it's not perfect. There's a margin of error. Benji looks fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I think it's fake. I think COVID is fake. Fuck the world. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
boy.
shit.
Oh,
Easy.
hey.
Look at
And
that.
you heard
All
straight
right,
from.
calm down. Calm down. All
You heard
right,
it straight from the brown python himself.
No, but there is something. I mean, before I know we're about to kind of wrap up here, but I don't want to open up a whole new can of worms, but just to kind of close out,
for you to open.
there definitely is some, I mean, like we were joking around earlier about like everybody's testing positive. There is some, I mean,
Yeah.
like I said,
Everyone is
I don't know.
positive.
I was a little tired on Saturday, but I just thought that was because I worked my ass off on Friday. Maybe it was my
That's a
fucking
symptom.
COVID symptoms, I guess. I don't know.
Working hard is a symptom.
I guess so, man. I work, but fucking, I worked through that whole shit,
You did. And that's why you kind of, we all take a step back and we're just kind of like, what it is. But yeah, PCRs those are pretty accurate, man. Those really don't fuck up too bad. But I mean, they definitely don't fuck up as bad as Kaiva does. And her predictions. But Kaiva, you have an open-ended invitation to join us here on the STN podcast.
In a bikini.
And you know what? You can choose whatever garments you prefer to be in. And yeah, you definitely we could go through some of these predictions of yours. But just let you know, the guys we're back. We're happy you're back, Kaiva. The internet's not the same without you, right?
That's true. No, it's true. Our worlds are not the same either. But other than that, it was great. I like this episode.
Me too.
I think we had a good variety of topics, covered them well. It was an interesting week. Like I said, you got a full show with somebody stricken with the COVID-19 Omicron variant right here on the set, on location, as it were. But if anybody got any parting words before we wrap this up in a bun?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. Well, hey, it's been a great week. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope 2022 provides you with wealth and happiness and peace of mind.
Yeah.
So we'll pretend that's true and shut it down for another week. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.